Hello and welcome to Good Games Well Played, episode 217. I'm Clint, aka JCM. With us this week is Isley,
Yo,
and Zaya unfortunately isn't feeling well, so Zaya will not be joining us. But it is a quiet week right before opening night live. So opening night live is on Tuesday. I never watch the show because it's at like 11 a.m. So I'm like, okay, well I'll be working. I'll just watch the reels, which I'm always kind of bummed. Like I kind of I prefer to watch stuff as it gets unveiled versus going back because then if I tune in later, be it social media or just IGN or some website, it's like okay, everything just gets kind of shock and blast. Here's everything was there. It's like I kind of would like to watch it live, so I'll probably have to try to ignore it and then go back and scrub through. And at least if I it's like, oh, here's a game from someone who I don't really care about, I can just like skip through it a bit, be like, okay, let's get to the next thing. But yeah, opening night live is on Tuesday, 11 a.m. Jeff Keighley did confirm some games that would be there, things like Outer Worlds 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, World of Warcraft, Midnight, whatever that is. Ghost of Yotei will be there, Resident Evil Requiem. There'll be a music performance from music from Claire Obscure will be there. And yeah,
of
so
course.
a lot of stuff. Hopefully, we get some new things. We'll just have to wait. Usually, Open and Live, I don't think has too many reveals unless maybe there's like a European specific developer, which they can maybe make a reveal there or DLC for stuff. But we'll see what happens. So that's not too far out. So I'm sure some of the next week's episode will be recapping what happened to Open Night Live. But uh, aside from that, yeah, there's not a whole lot that happened. I did see that Stalker 2 is going to have they outlined their next 6 months of updates as well as they're doing like an Unreal Engine upgrade. I don't know. They must be on 4 if they're going to be upgrading to 5, or maybe they're doing like a two new. They're upgrading to 5.54. Okay, so that's like they're optimizing it for the new updates that've gone to that engine, and they're also coming to PS5. They gave a release date for that because it was obviously an Xbox exclusive initially on launch. I'm
Very
trying to see
excited
here.
about that. I think
Yeah,
everyone knew it was going to come to PS5 eventually. I can't remember if they announced it at the start, but it's fun seeing that it's official at this point.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it would have come much sooner, but they're obviously impacted by what's going on in Ukraine. So
I was mostly
that's
thinking Xbox, but yes, also that.
yeah.
Ugh, dark.
Yep. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, I don't see a date here for coming to PS5. It just says release on it. They just gave like a holiday, or not a holiday. They just gave like a timeline, so they didn't say exactly when it's going to show up, but it will be showing up. Which, like, again, we figured it would. And then I saw an interesting announcement from PUBG saying that they are going to be ditching the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game in November, which is curious because I'm like, you typically don't see that too much nowadays. Like, I remember seeing it a lot for MMOs, right? Like FF11 dropping PS2. It's like, okay, the last PS2 updates this day. And then it's like, it's still on 360. And then it's like, okay, well, it's still there, but they phase out, or like when they did it for FF14, like okay, we're going to phase out PS3 and stuff, but as far as I know, that's still on PS4, isn't it? Or did they drop PS4 support as well?
To be honest, I'm not sure I realized that that game was still around.
FF11?
No, PUBG,
Oh, oh, PUBG. Okay, yeah, PUBG is. I mean, it's still like it's not
but also a little
super
bit
active, but
FF11. I mean, I guess I sort of know it's around, but I haven't thought about that game in a bit, despite the fact that Zaya talks about it regularly. And
yeah,
14.
yeah. 14 was only on PS3 for 4 years, and then they said it will last at least 12 to 13 on PS4. So it's still on PS4. In their that end of life cycles we're going. But yeah, they're dropping the support for PUBG and Xbox One. I'm curious if it's just let's see. mm, I like how to say the in a statement on the game's player to the game's player base, the game's development team said the decision quote weighs heavily end quote after so many years, but was now a necessary step in order to better support the game's PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, which makes sense. Like, okay, you can't you can only do so much if they're making changes, improving the engine. But yeah, it's interesting that because that again that doesn't happen too much with last gen platforms. Especially because they have, like, the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. So, like, okay, because they have those, I felt like they'd stay longer in that life cycle, but, yeah, I'm like, I know people still play PUBG. It's still popular. I know it's funny, like, Viva La Dirt League, YouTubers I've been watching for years, like, they love PUBG, and, like, when they play, like, community game nights, they still and when they stream, like, they still play PUBG, like, they just love that game. And there are a couple streamers, I don't follow them, but I you seen like back in the day, like smaller ones who would like consistently still play PUBG, and I know some that would like go in like they play like when they stream they play like a couple matches and then go play other stuff. They, play like the war zones and whatnot and like the more current games. And that's kind of like how I was treating BRs for a while. Like I used to love like, okay, I'll play this one for a bit in the same day. I'll be like, okay, I got to win. Okay, now go do this. That was always fun. Like, oh, get a win in different battle royales was a good time. Random queues was like a fun little challenge.
That sounds like a recipe for frustration. Trying to
Like,
get a win in like various different battle royales and then not moving on until you get a win because I could see like a losing streak and then it's like, ugh, gotta complete the cycle.
well, if you got like all day to do it, yeah, you're easy to go. But I did it once with I got a win in. I'm trying to think of what it was. Was it I don't know if I did it Fortnite, Apex, and Warzone, but I did it in Warzone and Apex in the same day. And then I must have maybe Super Animal Royale or some other BR that I had. Because I don't play PUBG. But it's funny because like PUBG is a game I really wanted to play back in the day. Like it was pushing me so hard to get a PC because I wanted to play PUBG. Because watching Northern Lion and the NLSS crew, Team Unity play it just that whole time, that whole summer, it was just like it was so fun to watch. And I'm like, God, this would be so because I remember like the other BR that was before that, that wasn't nearly as popular as PUBG. Oh man, what was it called? It was King of the Hill, I think was the it wasn't DayZ. It was a zombie
I don't know.
game.
I remember what it was and I'm blanking on it too.
Yeah, it was a zombie
There
game
was,
and like
oh God, this is gonna bother me.
yeah, but, like, that I saw some people play that, but I was like, "Okay, whatever," but then, like, PUBG exploded, and, yeah, I remember, like, ignoring it for a long time, like, "I don't need to watch this," and then, I ended up just watching one of his uploads, like, way later because 'cause he'd been consistently doing episodes for a long because I was watching Rimworld at the time, which is what I got into how I got introduced to Northernlion and Dan Giesling, was watching Rimworld because I was like, "Oh, I heard that game on Idle Thumbs." I was like, "This game sounds really fun. Let's see if anybody has any YouTube videos up." And they were the two main ones that popped up. So I watched NL and Dan Giesling, and then I subscribed to NL to keep watching 'cause he was playing Rimworld at the time and on YouTube. And then he was uploading PUBG, but I just wasn't watching him. But then he got like super high episode count. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll see what this is about. And I was like, this is just so fun to watch. And yeah, I was so close to getting a PC back in the day. I think if I didn't have, because like 2017, so if I didn't have a toddler at the time, I would have had more time to game. And it wasn't like money was because we didn't have daycare. Well, yeah, we had daycare, but it wasn't too bad. But I probably would have got a PC. But I was just like, I don't want to get a PC for. It's like that, I don't want to buy a console for one game. It's like I don't want to get a PC for. Plus, it wasn't like the game was super well optimized either. So it's like, okay, and then I didn't have anybody to play with, so like my cousin could play it or, you or
Especially if you had
anybody
a
else.
toddler. Yeah, I wouldn't have played a battle
Yeah.
royale. Their
Mhm.
battle royales are fine. I just have like very little interest in them.
Yeah. But yeah, I was like, God damn it, I didn't and then eventually announced it's coming to Xbox, but it wasn't super good there. And I did play it eventually, like, when they came to mobile, I played on mobile for a bit, but there was like bots when you first start. Fortnite introduced bots later on when they had their rank system, where like, a high percentage of the lobby would be bots, and as you rank up and get better, like the bots drop off, drop off, drop off. And typically the final circle is always like real players. So I have played PUBG, and I think PUBG is free to play. So I've never gone back, but that was always a game I was like, I wish I had gotten in at the hype, which is why when Fortnite came to consoles with their BR, it's like, oh well, this is free, play it, and then Fortnite just took off. But yeah, it's still around. And then I did see a funny little article where David Hayter was saying like he famously never played Metal Gear Solid 5 because he was upset about the recasting, which I get. But then like he said in an interview, like he's like, it's time to stop being a baby, and he just like play through the game. It's like, yeah, it's great. It's a great game. And so I thought that was funny. I like hearing articles where, like, someone maybe they famously known for a franchise or something where they like don't watch a film because they're no longer in it, and then later they go and they watch it later and like, yeah, it was great. Like it's a great movie. It's like, yeah, it's a great game. So that was a funny article. And then the last one I saw, I don't. Did you play? Let's see. I don't know if you played. There's a game you didn't play Wuchang, Fallen Feathers, did you?
No, I was tracking it, but I'm trying to be better about like not buying games before reviews come out and not pre-ordering games because I feel like there's been so many busts lately. And one of the biggest categories of like games that I don't play before they actually come out is Souls likes that
Hmm.
are not from software, because I feel like there have been a few that have been like incredible and amazing, and I would say that most of them are kind of garbage. So I know what it was, but have not played it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a obviously it's a Souls like we mentioned. It's funny, like it developed by Lindsay. Never heard of him. But when I saw it, I was like, is this a sequel to Wukong? Like
It
I
it does sound like it, doesn't it?
yeah, I was like, but I thought when I kept seeing it, I thought it was Wukong, not Wukang. I was like, okay. But yeah, apparently it's not at all. It's its own thing. But like I saw that they had an update where like it made the game way easier and apparently censored some stuff as well. Like you can't kill human enemies, but like there's a demon mechanic in it to where if you did kill humans who are non-hostile, like it made the character more demonic. Like obviously it's bad what you're doing, which was an interesting mechanic gameplay wise. But then they patched it where like you can no longer kill non-humans, and then there was like a section where a bunch of human characters would attack you, and then they like changed that to where like it's super easy now. And then the healing, like they essentially patched it where they censored it and they made it too easy, and so people are like all upset about it.
Yeah, it
Like,
seems like because it's a Chinese developer that there was pushback about it being offensive to China, so it
yeah.
got a bit purged, we'll say. And I don't know. I think that's a shame. I hate it when that happens with games, but it seems like they were purged.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this was when I saw it, I also thought it was, like, not just a sequel, but, like, DLC. I was like, "Oh, DLC to the other game came out." Nope, nope, just a game I've never heard of that dropped suddenly, and then there's an update that people are upset about. But yeah, that's, like I said, not a whole lot of news because Open Night Live is coming up this week, so I'm sure there'll probably be more stuff there. Usually, Open Night Live isn't, like, the biggest, you know, new announcements as we talked about. It's usually just things we already know about, new trailers. You know, it's always fun to see new trailers. It'd be Apparently, there's supposed to be some stuff for Fallout Season 2. Maybe we'll get a proper trailer for it. I like the poster they put out. It's a good poster. But yeah, maybe we'll get a trailer for Fallout Season 2 or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Um,
psyched for Fallout. That'll be good.
yeah,
God, that's another great show. We've had some good TV and video game adaptations lately.
yep. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll go ahead and move on to what we've been playing. Now, you finished Subnautica, and then did you move on to anything else? Or you're still kind of like, I remember talking about, oh, you should play this. You're thinking about doing Abiotic Factor, but you didn't do it. Or you're like, "Ah, I
Yeah,
don't know."
I've downloaded Abiotic Factor. I haven't started playing it yet, and then I've dipped around into a few like 2D games and like games that I thought would be shorter, but none of them have really quite clicked yet. So like I never played Rogue Legacy 2, so I started that up, played it for like an hour, and was just like, it's not really doing it for me right now. Then I hopped back into No Man's Sky just to like check out the recent updates, and I played that for like an hour as well, and was like, ugh, I don't know if I have the time commitment or I. It's funny because I'm like Subnautica is a survival game. It's not a short game. It's not a long game either, but it's not a short game. And then Abiotic Factor is also a survival game, which also doesn't appear to be like a long game or a short game. But then No Man's Sky, I know that's a game that will take up my life if I start it up. So all of this to say is I have not started playing anything new yet.
No good.
I
Bro
know.
has nothing to contribute. He's like,
I mean, from what I've seen of No Man's Sky, it's gorgeous now. The new camera angles are fun. I got to the base building portion, and the base building is so much more in depth. It's just incredible how much that game constantly gets updated. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of games coming out well, they were coming out in August, but now they're coming out in September, and it's hard because like I really just need like one average length game to hold me over from now until September.
"Hey,
And
you
then
play
we got
Sons of the
like,
Forest,
God, what do we have? We have the new Bloober Team game, Kronos. I can't remember what the subtitle is
Cronus
on
New
that
Dawn,
game. Yeah, Kronos comes out in September, and then I'm blanking on the other ones. What else is coming out in September?
Dying Light, The Beast."
That is,
That was supposed to be August, but they pushed it. I mean, we
yeah,
still haven't played Dying Light 2 together.
we do
We
have
had
to play Dying Light too. There's
too
too
many
many
co-op
games.
games. Yeah. Man, they gotta bring out Sons of the Forest, the console or something, or just like
I
say, get
really
on your
just want
laptop.
it for console. I mean, I could get it for laptop. I just find it so much more comfortable to play on console with like how my setup is. Ghost of Yotei comes out in October, I guess, not September. And then there's the Borderlands, but I won't pick up Borderlands. I have learned. Oh, Hell Is Us comes out in September.
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
see a
there's
thing
some
of
good
like
ones.
Hell's Us
Silent
isn't gonna
Hill
have a bunch of
F.
map markers. It's just gonna be like you got to go out and do this stuff, and I'm like, that's cool. That'll be fun. Play like a very Souls like game where it's like, yeah, you just got to go pay attention and go search around.
Yeah, Silent Hill F is coming out,
Yeah,
which we'll see how that actually is. But I'm excited for it. I really liked the recent game. I am hoping that this is, Silent Hill coming back to mainstream with the remake and now F. So yeah, there's some good stuff coming out. I'm excited. But
yeah,
yes, all this to say is like I'm just trying to make it like a month.
yep. Got to make it. You can get there. Then you'll have lots of games to play.
I'll play Biotic Factor. I'll probably start playing it this week. I'm just in the void because you finish one game and then I've been watching a lot of movies and YouTube rabbit holes, like I mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, I like I said, I finished Death Stranding 2. I beat that this week. That game is interesting because it's like it now it could just be because of how spaced out like I played for 40 hours. Like I didn't feel like I played it for 40 hours. But it could be because of how much I had spaced out, in little sessions playing through it. So it's like 20 sessions, I guess. Versus like the first game, which I felt, I was able to play in bigger chunks. That was like, back in the day. So there was stuff where it's like it felt like the story's moving, but everything they're kind of feeding you is like these breadcrumbs. Like, hey, who's this? Who's this? And at the end, suddenly it's like, bam, everything comes to a head. And it's kind of how the first one did it too, where it's like, okay, you're connecting America, you got to get Amelie back from Higgs, yada yada, and you're connecting up. There's these little stories. You get the cliffhanger interactions in on the war beaches and all that, and there's learning about extinction entities, this and that, yada yada, and then you get to the end, and it's like, oh, now everything's gonna kick off, blah blah, and you got to go back, and it's like everything's happening, and it kind of all culminates in this finale, and it kind of does that with this one. The game is so Metal Gear, like there are so many Metal Gear coded bits in it. That's like Metal Gear 2 and 4 especially. There's some really awesome gameplay moments. Like there's some really cool missions in that game where it's like I don't want to spoil, but there's just like a lot going on, and visually it looks really cool, especially in those final segments. It's like it's so MGS4, and I love it. Like it looks really cool. The game was a little easy. I wish there weren't nearly as many BT zones. And I've complained about this before, but now that I've played through essentially all the map, it's like, yeah, there aren't as many BT zones as there were in the first game. And I'm sure that's by design to make it easier for folks because people have trouble with BTs or whatever. It's like, okay. It'd be nice if they had like if there's some mechanic they did where it's like if you did because like in the other games I felt like if you got into the BT boss fight and you beat the boss, the BTs go away from that zone. They wouldn't come back. And so I was like, I'm ashamed there can't be some way like, oh Sam, we've created a anti-BT field thing. If you go and plant it in the center of the area, it like puts out some anti-chiral pulse or something and like prevents them from showing up. I don't know. Some late game or something thing to make it easier for folks. But and then I kind of miss the mules because I liked and people talk about this in the subreddit as well, like missing the ping anti-ping or counter ping rather, like is fun. Like the enemies they have, the brigands are like they're fun to fight and take out their base and sneak around and be very Metal Gear about it. But the mules I liked a lot because like if I pass through and they scan me, it's like they're chasing me for a good bit. Or it's like there's a lot of missions where it's like you have to go get this thing back from these people and you have to go through this area where they are, or they have it in their Dropbox. You have to steal it. So it's like you're sneaking through and getting it. And there was a lot of that in the first game. And there is some of that in this one too, where it's like you got to go to the brigand base and like, hey, we need you to hack these two machines, blah blah blah, or we need you to do this. But it's only like twice as main missions that you have to do that. And then the robots were a good addition. There's like these 3D printed robots that show up and fighting those, and they're kind of like so it's like okay, you got three different enemy types. It's like that's fine. And they do show up later in the game where like they're all over the map, so they kind of replace the BTs because they very much do act like them as far as like you see them like floating there, kind of like BTs do. And then if they aggro, then it's like okay, and that's fine, I suppose. But I kind of miss the BT hotspots and like sneaking and cutting umbilical cords and like getting out of there. And there's a couple good spots where they make you do, oh, you got to go collect the 5 components for this main pickup, and it's like okay, you go into the BT zone, but there's just not nearly as many I felt like in like one of my favorite BT zones in Death Stranding 1 is that one that's over by the pizza guy's delivery hut where it's like a destroyed city and you have to go there, but they have that wall that you have to build. You have to take a ladder and like you put the ladder up to go over the wall and there's like ruined buildings and you have to go in and sneak through. And that's like early on before you get the ability to even cut the umbilical cords. So it's like you're super sneaking in that section to get out of there. And then like you just run, you gotta like somehow jump over the wall. Like I always love that section when especially on the replay. I thought that was, like, a fun area, but yeah. I mean, I still enjoyed it overall, like, again, building the roads, the putting up zip lines, seeing people I don't know if they did this in the first game, but when you beat it, it tells you, like, all the structures that you made, and it's, like, which ones it ranks them by how people like them, and it's, like, funny, like, I had, like, a ton of zip lines. Now, obviously, they're not gonna put, like, every zip line in everybody's game. Typically, it's, like, maybe if you put your zip lines in one network area zone, it'll be like if you put down like 5, like it'll give like 1, maybe 2, to other people, and not like all 5 of them, of course, because it has to give people like, "Hey, you can build off this," yada yada. But it's like the one generator I made, like, is like my second highest, liked item because generators are just so powerful. Like, I love people that put generators right at the edge of a zone before you go to do the main mission in the unconnected area because like they're always helpful. Like, you got a vehicle, you got your exosuit skeleton. It's like it's always great to have a generator right there. So people love generators. And I love seeing, like, how many, like, how you traveled, like, the distance you traveled and showing, like, vehicle-wise and how, like, your footprints not footprints, but, like, your walking distance. And it did it I don't know if Death Stranding 1 did this, but it does that, like, Zelda Breath of the Wild thing where it shows your pathing on the ground, like, in perpetuity, it looks like, at least in close sessions ago, I felt like I'm like, "Oh, look, I can see where I walked on the map." On the end of a mission, it'll, like, highlight your path
Yeah.
in the first game. It does that in this one, but your footprint path is, like, on the map. It's like a little tan line you can see, and, like, it's still there even, like, in session after session, I'd see it, like, "Oh, I could still see my footprint." And I love seeing, like, someone walk your trodden path, those are always fun, seeing those.
I can't
Um,
remember if it did that in the first game or not. I feel like it did. That's
yeah, I
gonna
don't
make
r
me nuts.
maybe Director's Cut, but I don't remember the first game doing that, like, because again, I only remember
Maybe
Breath
maybe
of the
I'm
Wild doing it.
misunderstanding what you're saying, but I have heard from other streamers and like watching Twitch people that one of the problems with the second game or one of the dislikes is that it's less of a focus on BTs and more of a focus on like the humans are the real enemy, which is just kind of like a weird stance for Kojima to take given that he is a little batshit insane and like he loves all the weird shit. So why focus on humans in a world that's so strange? So I have heard that from other people as well.
Yeah, and I feel like there are a decent amount of BT zones, but I just feel like there's not no like in I'm thinking of like, and I'd have to check the prologue section versus like the prologue section of the first game because the prologue section of the first game had like if you go when you go on that first mission go out, people typically go straight ahead when they leave the city. But if you go right the long way, there's a BT zone over there. Then when you go up and over, there's the BTs at the incinerator. There's the BTs that are
There's the
always right
BTs at
there.
the incinerator that you have to make it through though. Like
Right, and,
and
like,
then
that
there's the one right near the start like you mentioned to the right, which I feel like they used I can't recall, but like I feel like in the director's cut at least, it was part of a tutorial to teach you about avoiding BT zones because you have to pick up
when you
something that's like on the outskirts of it.
yeah, I think there's some, like, they send you the path there, or you can also if you leave the incinerator, if you go left, because that's, like, the easy path, then you usually end up going around and going through the other BT zone. But there's that BT zone that's far right, there's the BT zone at the incinerator, there's the BTs that are near on the way to the next distro center, like, there's that river, and they're on the left, they're on both sides of the river. They're there. There's the BTs on the way to the windmill farm. They're there. That's usually where you have your first big BT boss fight if you don't fail the incinerator one. And then you have the BTs on the narrow mountain pass going to Portnot, like when you're leaving. So there's 4 or 5 big BT areas in the prologue. And then in the main game, like, yeah, there aren't a ton. Like you have a couple sets in the mountains. You have that big one in the tar pit area. There's like that's where you find those big BTs. Like they're there. There's the BTs in that one city section. There's way more mules in the first game. Like it's not nearly as many brigands. They do later. The robots show up a lot more, but there's way more mules in the first game, especially, like, right as you leave Port Knot, it's like there's some mules right there. You like, the highway you build goes right through their zone to scan, and, like, I feel like they're in a lot of locations, but the BTs, there's near the weather station, there's the BTs, there's I'm trying to remember some of the other spots. Usually Mountain Knot, there's on the way there, there's that whole big BT section on the way to Mountain Knot City when you go up that one main path. Then there's the floater BTs up in the mountains even further down, and then, there's BTs in on the way up to, the mountain as well, Mountain Knot City. There's a lot I just feel like there's was way more and more mules. I just feel like maybe they kinda tone that down, for this, which is like, okay, I guess. But, yeah, like, in the BT spots you do have, like, you don't initially go through a whole lot of them multiple times. Like, obviously, if I did, like, repeat orders, I would. But, yeah, it definitely feels like it's a little easier because of that. Like, I wish there was more I guess I wish the brigands were a little more active. Like, I wish they had the scanner and to where you'd have to counter scan and stuff like that. I wish it was a little more challenging, I suppose. Um,
Which seems like it's a common thought about the game.
which it's not, and that's not like a bad thing. Like still really enjoyed the game. Like everything, it's like a very, as funny as it sounds, it's like a very relaxing, like de-stress kind of like it's like a chill, cozy game doing the walking and the deliveries and all that. But I still want that. Okay, here's a tense moment. Here's this, and there are like there was that one time I got killed and there's the void out. So there's that. I guess that BT zone goes away because I died there. And there are a couple of good sections, like I said, with the missions that we go through. I just feel like there's not nearly as many in the game. I really like the boss fights they have in this. I thought even the ones against like the robots I thought were fun. I really like those. The It's interesting because they introduce mechanics in this game, but they don't do them a whole lot. Like they introduce the fire bit, but I've never had the fire come back. Now, the fire might be only isolated to one section of the map where I never did repeat orders in that section. Like I got in, did the main ones, and then moved on. So maybe if I went back and did like repeat deliveries, the fire mechanic would show up more, and then I'd be like, okay, add to interact with it more. It's like this is where that happens. Or they introduce like this Pokemon mechanic with the BTs, and I feel like I don't really use that a whole lot, but mainly that's because I'm not getting captured by the BTs. And like there's only like two spots I know of where like if you get seen, it's just instant BT's boss shows up. And that's where I died in the one void out. The one BT got me. And then there's another section on for a main mission where you have to go through an area and like it does the same thing. Like the BTs, they just show up. Like they're there, and then it's like bam, it's a battle. But then I use the Pokemon mechanic and I had like a BT fight the other BTs. But you never use it elsewhere. I'm like, okay. Although there was a funny bit where I won't spoil anything, but there's like a thing where like, I wonder if I can use like because you have to capture them with these capture grenades. And I was like, I wonder if I can capture this one. And it worked. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I can't wait to use this BT. But I never got to a spot where I could use it. But I was like, it worked. I can't believe it worked. Like, you crazy. But yeah, I did enjoy it. There's a lot of fun stuff. Like I said, just the same thing, just deliveries, going around. Some interesting new the coffin board's interesting to use. It's just a shame it has to be on the chiral network. That's a little bit of a bummer because like it's a fun thing to use because it unlike the floating carriers where they only really work as a hoverboard if you're kind of going downhill, like you can't use them uphill. But the coffin board, you essentially use it at full momentum, even uphill. There's some fun segments you can use it on, but it only works in chiral coverage. So it's like, okay, it'd be great for a repeat, missions, but not if you're traveling someplace new. But
After
yeah,
playing both of them, which game do you think you enjoyed the experience of more?
well, it'll always be the first one because that was like the first, what the hell is this game? Oh my gosh, this is so fun, unexpected. And I do like the settings of the World War One and World War Two sections with Cliff a lot. I like the boss fights they have with Neil. I think they're some really cool ones. The one with the finger of death I thought was really fun. I was like, oh, is this mechanic from the real world? Oh, it is. I thought that was fun. Some and fun locations, and I really also like. I was wondering, like, okay, how is this character like Cliffhanger? Like, how does this guy tie in? And then it's like, spoilers for Death Stranding 1. Oh, he knows Die Hardman. Die Hardman is regrets his death and blames, and is upset about it, and is just messed up by it, by him getting killed. And then also he's your dad. So it's like, okay, now
Also, he's your dad. Just throwing
also
that
he's your
out
dad.
there.
And so it's like, okay, you find this out. It's like, okay, that's cool. And I'm like, how are they going to tie in Neil? And the way they kinda tease it early on, because there's also this mystery around, Lou and this whole, BB0 and how BB, 28, like, isn't actually BB28 and all this stuff, like, early on. And so there's, like, this whole mystery, and then you find out some stuff about Neil, and it's like, "Oh, are they doing this with Neil?" And then I really like where it ends up going. I was like, "Wow." I was like, I didn't expect it to go, where it did. I don't wanna spoil stuff 'cause it but yeah. I like that, and his sections were, like I said, were fun, cool sections. There's, like, one that has a lot of, like, gravity stuff. Uh, a couple actually have do mess around with gravity. Um, but yeah, those were fun, but again, a little
I
easy,
feel
not
like
to
I know where the game goes. I don't wanna spoil
oh,
it for, like,
I'd
other
love to hear,
people
like
since it's still new, but
yeah,
I
you should, like, record like, give your, like, a spoil, like, where you think the game goes, and then play it, and then we'll come back to it later to see, like, how close you were.
we'll never remember that, but I am
That's why you
curious.
record it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I still enjoyed it. I think that like the oh, well, there are I Tomorrow's a great character. I like that character, Elle Fanning's character. I like that character a lot. That character's really cool. Very different than what I thought they were going to be from the trailers. There's a lot of scenes from the trailers that play out where I thought they were gonna be one way, and it's like, no, no, it's entirely different. Like, not even just opposite, like, totally different. I was like, "Wow, I that's a really nice, change." I think those characters are great. Higgs is great. I love Higgs in this, like, Troy Baker's just going there's just one moment in the game that's, like, it's totally messed up. I was like, "God damn, this is dark." Like, it got really dark, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." But, a great cutscene, like, the entire moment, was really cool. I thought there'd be, like, this Metal Gear Solid 3 way to get out of it, but, uh, there wasn't. It was just like, you just gotta keep going. Uh but yeah, I enjoyed it overall. I could see probably going back. I don't know if I get the platinum. I didn't get the platinum in the first one. I don't know how much more I had to do. Probably gets a couple 5 stars in a few places. But yeah, I still really enjoyed my time with it. It was just a lot of fun. It gets crazy. There's some really Kojima-esque
The fucking
moments.
robot.
Which robot?
The Higgs robot is a
Oh,
Kojima-esque moment. Okay, I have one question which I want you to spoil for me in the game. Why the fuck does he battle with a guitar? Like, what is the logic for him using a guitar to fight as opposed to literally anything else? A gun, a sword?
it is a gun.
Eh,
It it shoots, chiralium, the chiralium, like, lightning bolts,
But why
like, when
is
he
it
plays
not a
it.
gun or like it's
Because
just why
because
is
he
it a
plays
fucking
music
guitar?
IRL.
Why is it
Probably just Troy Baker has a band, so they're like, "Okay, we'll just have you use the guitar." It's
it
also
was just
awesome.
absurd. It was
It's
absurd.
it's so cool, like, when it's in game, and man, I really wanna spoil stuff, but, like, it's so cool. Like, but there's, like, this one moment where, like, it was like, "What the hell is going on here?" And I'm like, "This person must had a great time if they mocap this entire thing." It was just, like, totally out of nowhere, especially after really, like, serious-ish like, a serious conversation between 2 characters late game, and it's just, like, someone just I'm like, "What is Kojima, what are you doing?" And then, it was just so
I think
silly, but
describing it as totally out of nowhere describes all of Kojima games. Like that is who he is and what he does. It's just shit that's totally out of nowhere.
yeah,
And
I
sometimes it works and sometimes you're just like I mean, from what I've seen of people playing it, I think I would have the same critique of this game that I had of the first one, which is that there's some really cool ideas and he puts too many ideas in a game and needs an editor. Like more than any other person and visionary needs an editor because he just has so many really interesting thoughts and it's too many for one game. He
it's
needs
funny
to
because
learn
like,
like focus and development.
because the first one's already established stuff, it's like the story in this one is even, like, more straightforward. It's like in once everything's wrapped, I'm like, "Okay." It's like it's very like, it's straightforward, like, this is what's going on, and it's like this is this bit and these people and this is what everybody's doing. This is their motivations. Like, okay, yeah, it's like I get it. Like yeah, not that the first one didn't make sense, but it's just like, yeah, it's like okay, it's this is here we go. Uh,
And to be clear, it's not that it didn't make sense. I think there are parts about the first game that don't make sense, but they're not like huge plot holes. They're more of like I I don't think his problem is that things don't necessarily make sense, which you could argue still. I think it's more of just it's like too many interesting concepts, but it sort of detracts from the overall experience of the game because one or two of those interesting concepts, in my opinion, would have been like a really strong game if they were just fully developed as the whole point of the game. So the first one, the kind of example I'm using is like the whole idea of being a delivery man with like the time, fall, rain and stuff is really fascinating. The whole idea of the BTs in the first game is really fascinating. But then he has the Chiralium, the Timefall, the BTs, and they're like three or four just really wildly different things that are all and like the repatriates, all of that is like kind of all really interesting. I just have always been of the opinion that like he should have just picked like one or two of those ideas and fleshed them out more as opposed to kind of shoehorning all of them into one game because I found myself coming away being like, yeah, I enjoyed my time and I wish that it was simplified.
Yeah, and they have some new things that pop up in here, like some syndromes that are new. That okay, that's fine, that makes sense, but they don't wrap up. And I'm like, okay, so it was just this interesting little like sub story that's on the side, like,
That's
hey, and
exactly what he does though. Like, yeah, sorry to interrupt. Like fascinating sub stories.
well, but even more so, like, there weren't too many sub-stories in like, the Cliff Unger bit would be kind of like a you consider like a sub-story, "Okay, what's going on with this character?" But this is like, hey, you get introduced to a character, there's people who are suffering from this symptom, and there are a doctor who's trying to help them with it, but it's not like at the end of the game, you go back and there's a sub-scene of like, "Oh, we because you did this and you completed the mission, now it seems like people are getting cured." It's just like, "Okay, so what happens to and it felt like when Psycho Mantis takes Saha takes Metal Gear and leaves in Metal Gear Solid 5, and it's like, "Oh, there's a whole, like, epilogue you're supposed to do to go stop him," and it's like, it just doesn't happen. It's like, "Okay, but what about all these people who are suffering from this thing? Like, what happens to them?" And it's like, that's just, not covered, but, which is fine. It's like, I guess you don't have to have everything doesn't need to be answered because then you have, then you have the Metal Gear Solid 4 ending where it's like everything has to get wrapped up. Um
Everything answered. I just think he skews a bit a- as like as a visionary and like with what he does. I think his games skew a bit too much towards the that kind of sub story. Too many ideas, and I still really enjoy him. I actually, like I said, I find all of the ideas he incorporates very interesting. I just consistently find myself wishing there were like one or two ideas less.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's funny, like, the way they wrap it, like, okay, you could be done. There could be no more Death Strandings if you wanted. It's like or you could do Death Stranding 3. It was like, do people really want to do that same gameplay loop for a third time? Like, I would, but I don't think anybody else would. But, like, it'd be some things they show, like, could be interesting, but yeah, there's some podcast they play that song, "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head," like, way too many times. Like, every time I played, I was like, "I fucking hate this song now." Like, I can't stand it. I people have that as their music to go along with their environmental assistant thing, and I'd be like, "I'd delete this off my game, get it out of here," and I'd just remove it because 'cause I'm like, "I don't wanna hear the song anymore." Um, just stop singing it, please. But yeah, no, it's fine. It's just that one. Like, it's like, "Oh, this thing is going on." It's like, "Okay," but they don't really talk about it again. Like, again, not that you need to, but just like a way to introduce a character who's helping other characters, but then they are concerned about people attacking their, base of operations, so you gotta go stop the weapons manufacturing. Like, it gets introduced pretty early on that leads you on to Higgs is manufacturing these weapons, yada yada. You gotta go stop 'em. So it's like it's just some people who are like, these are people impacted by what Higgs is doing in this region, and to show you like the human side of why we need you to stop him from doing this. It's like okay, but everything else going on with these people, like what happens if like they just introduce it just as a thing. But yeah, it's overall yeah, I still really enjoyed it. It's just a fun game. Like I said, every time you log in, you see how many likes you get, from people using your stuff or repairing roads, this and that, yada yada. It's just it's a fun time. Uh,
Yeah, you love the gratification of the likes. They nailed you with that one.
well, it's just funny that, oh, people use my stuff. Like, I like it. It's like, I wish I wish I had more people that were playing at the same time so I can create those strand contracts. So, like, I see more of their stuff versus just randos in the world. Like, I would like to see more like, "Hey, I wanna see more of Michael's stuff," or, if you were playing, be like, "I see more," like, if you start playing, you could be like, "Okay, I'll create a strand contract with JC," or something, and be like, "Hey, now I'll see more of your stuff that you put down instead of just, random." Because like, it's like, "Oh, your strand connection with this person increased." I'm like, because I've seen more of their stuff or I used more of their stuff. I'm like, "Okay, that's great, but, like, I just wish more of this is my friends." Like, that's what I really missed about the like, 'cause I never got that in the first one, I really wanted it in the second one. Just see more friendly stuff. I wish they had, like, a code. I wish they did the Elden Ring thing of, like, you put in a
It
code.
Yeah, it does feel like that game is missing for a game that has such a social element integrated into it. It's really missing actual social controls.
Well, they're there. It's just no one was playing. Like, I could create strand contracts. I could see, like, who, create them with your friends from the start versus later on. I think you have to unlock that ability in the first one, I believe. And you could do it. This is just no one like I didn't Michael, they didn't have PS Plus, so I couldn't do it with Michael. And then so you play the game just offline. Which is such a weird way to play it. But yeah, so I just had no one that was playing it that I can make those connections with. So it's like I was hoping like, oh, maybe I'll you play at the same time or
Aw, you
something.
couldn't make connections with people? That's so sad.
Not IRL people anyways. I need to go like a
That's so
subreddit, be like, "Hey."
sad.
Yeah, no connections. Or Sam. But yeah, I really enjoyed it overall. And then after that, I just been playing the second weekend of the Battlefield 6 betas going on. I played it last weekend, of course. Talked about it. They did so there's a mode last weekend they had where now it's like you can't just play that playlist of the mode on its own because they introduced another mode, Rush, which is like a classic Battlefield mode, and a new map. But now they've like mixed a couple playlists together. Like, oh, if you want to play like Breakthrough is the one I liked playing. And now Rush is back, but I can't just play just Rush or just Breakthrough. It's like I have to pick All Out Warfare, which is Rush, Breakthrough, and Conquest. Like, but I only want to play Rush or Breakthrough, and I can't do just those. Like, I can search for a match, but then I get into that playlist where the server just rotates out random, and it's not like 1-1-1. It's like it's just randomized. It just rolls the dice, I guess, like map and mode. It's not like it's not like Killzone, where Killzone multiplayer is great because it was like, okay, here's a round of capture the flag, here's a round of deathmatch, here's a round of, you know, control, here's a round of this. Like, you play every game mode in an entire round of Killzone, which I thought was so awesome. And they don't really do that. I'm like, so I'm hoping when it launches in full, I can just play that playlist of I only want to play Breakthrough.
Killzone's multiplayer was so good. I miss Killzone too. And
Yeah.
yeah, that game was good.
And then the other problem they have right now is Rush isn't that great on all the maps. And they had this problem because because I think about Rush in Battlefield 3, which I played. That's like the only game mode I hardly played Conquest in Battlefield 3. I only played Rush mainly. And then in 4, I kind of played a mix of Rush and Conquest. And then in 1, I only played Conquest basically. But they try to design maps to be like, oh, when the maps are made, they like make them to be like, okay, they should be able to fit every game type in this map. So they have like these combat zones, but like it doesn't always work. And like that's the issue people are having with Rush right now is like Rush on like the New York map they have is not good. It's just not designed right. They need to tweak it. And it's like I'm sure they'll take that feedback in the main release, but like right now it's not in a good place. The mountain map is pretty good. That's good for Rush. It has there's spacing between the objectives. There's good pathing. But I think Breakthrough is like my favorite mode. That was from previous Battlefields. I just never played it. And then I really like Breakthrough because it's very similar to Rush. It's just more players, and instead of trying to destroy an MCOM, you are just controlling a zone, and you have to control like two zones at the same time. So while you control one and your team tries to control B, it's like they can flank around and try to take back A. And then if they're contesting it, you can't proceed. But like that's the thing, you have to control both zones, then you move to the next, and it's like, oh, it's one zone, you control it, then you move to the last one, it's like it's two zones, you have to take both zones. Um, just I feel like that's a really fun mode, very team focused. And Conquest isn't that bad. I played Conquest on a couple maps. I like it a little more, but Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the game when it finally launches. I'll be curious to see. It's funny because they even patched like the MCOM timer in Rush to be like, we realized it's taking too long. We decreased the timer by 33% or whatever. It's like, okay, it takes too long. But which is funny because like Rush in 3 and 4, I feel like are really good. But yeah, so hopefully they'll tweak it. Maybe just got like I said, they just gotta tweak the maps a bit. Certain maps to be like just play better. Like you can't have them all just be like every map type or every game type can fit this map. Like you could
Maybe you
try.
maybe you talked about it last week already, but how I've seen like people comment on the twitchiness of the game. How have you felt about that? That it's more of like a Call of Duty Twitch shooter now.
No, it plays just like the other games. Like it feels really good. Like people are like, "Oh, the TTK is too quick. It's too quick." And then someone showed a comparison like, "Here's the TTK in 4 because 4 is still active. Here's an
And
AR in
4
both."
got great reviews. 3 and
And
4
it's
both.
and it's the same. Well, 4 took a while to go. 4 had the I do kind of miss the Levolutions from 4. As silly as a like a gimmick it did change uh a lot of the map. Like there was one with like the skyscraper one, it's like whatever. The skyscraper blows up, okay, whatever. But the one I liked a lot was it had a dam, and if you flooded the map, it's like, okay, now the map is flooded, and then boats would spawn in. You could take boats, became like, uh Italy or not what's that town with all the water in Italy?
Venice.
Venice, there we go. Um, famous from Tomb Raider 2. It's like you can take boats around between everyone. It's like that was kind of fun. Like there were some fun things about that would be kind of cool. But yeah, they overall it was just like you know, still a fun game. And I think the one of the main issues I see from some folks is like there's not a closed weapon system like there was in the other battlefields. It's open. There are closed playlists you can do to where like okay, only assault can use assault rifles, only recon can only use snipers, and then a support can only use light machine guns, and engineers can only use submachine guns, like which is how they would close it off previously. And they changed it to where it's like, oh, you can use everything, which is fine, whatever. It's just the gadgets to make it unique. But again, they have the closed playlist if people want to do closed. So I'm fine with that either way. Um, but uh, but yeah, I think it's fine. I think TTK is fine. I don't think there's a big issue there. Uh, it you could just tell, like, I think that one of the things now is, like, non-Battlefield people playing Battlefield, you could tell, like, okay, they're who they are because 'cause they're not really playing the objective, they're just going for the kills, they're not reviving or doing whatever, like, it's like the elite like, the difference between playing queuing solo versus, like, playing with my cousin, it's like in Icarus, like, if you make a furnace, it's like, "Okay, I'm making a furnace to smelt this iron into ingots." If I make a second furnace, my production increases by 100%. If I make a third, it's just increases by 50%. And then it's diminishing returns the more furnaces you make. And it's like that. Like if I have one person on my team who I can communicate with, it's like how much we can do as a squad increases exponentially with just one more person. And then if we had a third one, it'd be a little bit more. And so it's like because he would be like, "Oh, I'll spawn the tank." I'm like, "Okay, I'll be engineer." Um, obviously, not everybody has mics, and they're probably in closed parties or something like that. But it's like if you're not like I haven't played any round. Only one round I've played where someone on my team or in my squad rather had a mic on, and I think the guy had his mic on by mistake because I think he was playing like with his buddies in the same room, or something like that. But he only talked like later in the match, like I think he unmuted his mic, but no one because you've been using the in-game comms to try them out, the VoIP to see how it sounds. Because obviously, if we can play with people who actually talk, we'll just use the in-game comms. But yeah, it's funny just how much better it could be if you have just one person to coordinate with, especially when you're trying to take out a vehicle or you're using a vehicle. It's like, okay, I'll be engineer, I'll heal you, I'll do this, yada yada. But yeah, it is funny seeing games like there was a post or picture I posted in I think Discord, and I think I posted on somewhere else as well, where it was like I was playing and like the person I got first place on this match, and it was like I had I only had like 34 kills, 15 deaths, 26 assists, but I had like 10 objective captures. And then I had all the other things to give me points, like revives, resupplies, healing the tanks, shit like that. But then the guy who was in fourth in that picture, he had 91 kills, but he had 0 objective points and he got fourth. And so he
He
had
also
like
had like 4 deaths, so you can tell who was playing sniper and who was
yeah.
actually doing shit.
Yeah, so you can tell like
Not
okay,
to say he might would like maybe would have been helping with defense and stuff, but Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah,
obvious.
and it could very well be too, like, if he's killing people who are at objectives, you get a little bit of point for, like, defense. You're defending the objective, you killed them, they were in the zone, you took them out, so it's not just the kills, but, like, because I think a kill is 100 points, I think. So 91 he had 15,000 points, so 9,100 would have to be just from kills, which means that 6,000 points came from other stuff. Now he did have assists, and I think assists are 50, maybe 35? I forget what the point breakdown is there. So it's like, okay, let's call it 10,000 for kills. That means 5,000 he had from doing other shit, maybe revives, ammo resupplies, whatever. But it's like you can see, like, okay, I only had 34 and 26 assists, but it's like everything else, and it's just like I was healing my cousin's tank a whole bunch, and he didn't even like the top charts, but it's like I'm still supporting him. I'm doing all this stuff, and so it's like that coordination is fun, and that's what makes Battlefield so fun. Is just working together. To try to do stuff. But I really look forward to when it finally launches. I think it'll be fun because it'll be a great game just to be able to hop in and play a couple rounds. I just hope they have the game modes on their own. Like I don't mind having like here's a playlist that does one of each mode as long as it cycles through each mode. Right? Okay, here's a conquest. Okay, here's breakthrough. Here's rush. Like at least go through them. I don't want to random roll to be like here's conquest, here's conquest, here's conquest. It's just different maps. Like that'll bug me. So hopefully they can fix that because that's the one thing. But yeah, like going back to the rush thing, like I think if they just have to make it to where just don't have rush on every map. Like not every map needs every game mode. Just do the ones that work that feel balanced. And I feel like that's and again, people are whining so much. It's like, but this is a beta. Like just give the feedback. That's what it's for. Like they're testing it, and to their credit, they increased server capacity by a lot. There's no longer a queue whenever I log in. Like there was like I'd log in last week and be like, you're in position like 86,000. The queue didn't take that long. It'd go pretty quick, like just a couple minutes. Um, but it's like there's been no queue at all. And I'm hoping that when they have crossplay, I turn it off by default, but I'm hoping that when they have crossplay at launch, they do input crossplay only because that's what crossplay is on most games is if you can play against people on PC only if they're using the controller. So then the advantage they get is just improve fidelity and probably frame rate, but they're using a controller. Uh, versus if you have someone in your party who's using mouse and keyboard, then you can queue with anybody who's using any inputs. So I hope they fix that because I just turned off crossplay. So either way I can, because then it improve match time if I can play against the PC folks, but only if they're using controller and what have you. But I the one thing that bugs me about the beta is I can't go to the options and change stuff when I'm in the firing range. I have to go out of the firing range to change it, which is annoying. And then a lot of the settings are like buried in subsettings. I'm like, I just want to tweak my sensitivity when I'm ADS. Let me just lock it to this option window and then fix it. That way I don't have to go dig through it again, find it, and tweak it from like 20 to 30 and 30 to 40. And just let me do it in the thing. But yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. I really like playing it. It's still a good time. It's funny, like I had like we had one match where it's like I got first, but it was on the new map and Rush, which was really bad. It was just like I didn't do well. It's like, but it just kind of shows how bad that map is for that mode and like how they have it set up. Cause like no one on my team did well. I just happened to get first, but it wasn't even that good. I just happened to be maybe resupplying. It's like nothing happened. We didn't even get past the first objective, which is like this map needs to be tweaked a bit. But other than that map, I am enjoying it. It's good to have Battlefield back in a good spot. I know 2042 I think got there eventually, but it's just like at that point it's like too many years to come by. I'm like I'm not going to go back to that game.
I mean, pretty much every Battlefield has gotten there eventually. It's just there were a few that became really popular because they launched in a really good state versus taking a few years. Like you mentioned, Battlefield 4 took a bit of time. Battlefield 3 I feel like was pretty great out of the gate, but also I was a lot younger then and don't really remember. I just played a shit ton of it.
Yeah, 3 was great. I mean, 4 was good too. The only problem with 4 was like I think they had some server problems at launch, which was like standard for any multiplayer game back in that time. It was like you always had server issues. And then 1 was good from the get-go. 5 changed a bit of things to where they kind of brought back I think the Battlefield 2 like repair and fortification mechanics, which I liked, but it wasn't like it wasn't in a perfect place, but it was still in a good place. 1 was better than 5, but 5 was good. I like 5. I didn't play it for nearly as long because I don't think I had anybody to play with at the time. I was just solo queuing. And
See
then
above about lack of connections.
yeah, Yeah, Kojima wasn't there to help me out. And then yeah, I played the beta for 2042 and I just did not like it. It was not good. And then I didn't play it at launch. It was just like, nope. They fixed the problems later, but it's just like, no, I'm not gonna go back to it. It wasn't fast enough and I ain't got time. I'll go do something else. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to 6. It's gonna suck having to wait. Although, like I mentioned last week, whatchamacallit, Delta Force is coming to console, and that's a free to play extraction shooter. I was like, maybe I'll just play that while I wait for, Battlefield to launch. But yeah, we'll see. I'm curious how if they do the BR though, like how much is the player base going to be split between the battle royale mode, each of the game modes, plus the closed weapon version of those game modes. So I feel like closed weapon is kind of going to be like the quote the hardcore servers they used to have in Battlefield, where it's like the hardcore people will play on those servers. And that'll be it. But I hope they have the player count to show you like how many people are playing this mode, so you know like how queues are going to be. Call of Duty's done that, and I always thought that was a cool feature of Call of Duty to be like, how many people are playing deathmatch? How many people are playing team deathmatch? You can kind of see how the player base is split. But
I don't know how I feel about the mix of weapons. On the one hand, I kind of like that you could play like I do like that you could pick up any weapon because I always gravitated towards certain classes' abilities and other classes' weapons. But on the other hand, I'm kind of like a lot of times the weapons were catered to specifically force you to play a certain way. So like if your weapons require you to get in close range, your support abilities can also be designed such that you have to be in close range to use your support abilities. So it was kind of like an interesting aesthetic or design choice that actually supported how you were supposed to play the class. And I do worry that, people will pick I can't remember what your class is called, engineer, the ammo healing one, but then
support.
we'll also pick a sniper rifle and we'll just stay in the back, never give ammo or anything. I do kind of wonder about that. Like,
Yeah, there there's pros and I like it just because since they have both playlists and it's not like locked to one, like okay, I could see playing the closed weapon system playlist. But I do like that they have it open. That way if I want to like, oh, I want to try like let's say like I like playing engineer, but I don't typically I'll run like one of the weapons that my support class can run. Like either I'll run an LMG or like a carbine or something. But I like to be able to be like, okay, well, what if I want to play closed weapons, but I don't play a lot of the engineer's guns? I can at least go into the open one and use that submachine gun across any class. That way, I'm unlocking because you have to unlock all the attachments as you level up the gun, which is like what they did in the other Battlefield games. So it's like, okay, now I can play open weapons, run this gun on any class that I need to support my team, be it uh, support or engineer to take out tanks or repair tanks. Typically, I always run medics, but now I'll run support. It's like, okay, I'll run support so that way I can support my team, but I'm leveling up this SMG that I'll use in engineer when I need to if I play closed open playlist. So I do like that they have that just so I can help and if the BR, I guess it'd be good reason to play the BR mode because then if I play and I pick up a gun I don't normally use, I'm also leveling up that gun for the base game as well, which could be pretty fun. So yeah, there is a trade off, and maybe they could be fun if they did like this weekend we're doing a closed weapon only playlist this weekend, like a special throwback weekend or something like that. It's like forces everybody to be like use that stuff. I mean, that was one of the reasons I typically never use support in the other games, only because I like to be medic. It's like I don't really like LMGs. There were some fun LMGs in Battlefield One that you get eventually, and the LMGs in Battlefield 6 so far, especially the second one you unlock, I'm like, okay, I really like this LMG. A lot of fun. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping the player base is around. There's like so many memes online for Battle 6 that been showing up, especially like Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. It's really funny to see. I'm like, well, hopefully this enthusiasm kind of carries over to the launch of the game in October. But yeah, I'm hoping it does well because they've been putting a lot of resources into it. It's going to have a campaign, obviously, multiplayer. It'll have Firestorm. Hopefully, Firestorm's good. I know people liked Firestorm. It was kind of a niche BR of all the BRs at the time. But if it's better, I think that could be fun just to play. Like,
it
I'll play like one match of that
it feels like there's excitement around Battlefield, which hasn't kind of existed in a hot minute, which is cool.
for sure. Yeah, and I've been there's this one YouTuber called Broken Machine who I've been watching for a long time. They were big in Battlefield. Like I think they started streaming regularly with Battlefield. Like they played all the Battlefields, but they started streaming with Battlefield 1 and like they're primarily a Battlefield streamer. They still play like Warzone and other stuff, but they'll still play Battlefield and they'll play like Battlefield 1 and 5 still and 2042. But they've been putting out some videos saying like how they've been playing Battlefield 1 as a tester for like a year and a half, or not Battlefield 1, Battlefield 6. So they've been like working with them, like they've been working with other people, kind of like they did for Apex as well, where like and he was talking about like stuff he could talk about, like just the evolution of the game over those 1.5 years of him playing it and whatnot, and feedback that he'd give, and obviously whether or not they take that feedback, who knows. But I thought that was interesting to like hear someone's opinion who's been playing it versus just like one of the streamers that went out and played it at the event, or just been playing it passing. Because the one thing about streamers is like I saw someone do a breakdown of like all these streamers' opinions. It's like, okay, these aren't Battlefield players though. These are just streamers. And it's like their opinions are like lack validation because they don't play Battlefield. So like all their opinions are like it's usually it's like, oh, gotta make it more like Call of Duty or more like this. It's like, no, no, no. You keep Battlefield. But then you'll talk about like, okay, this person knows, or they're speaking to it from a competitive sense because they were a real esports player, like with Shroud's opinions and stuff. But then he'll say like it still needs to be like this, like, but you can take so
I mean, that's kind of
anyways.
what I was curious about, though, is like it's getting so many opinions from people that some of the videos I've seen do sort of look like Call of Duty. And I mean, if it does go in the Call of Duty direction, I wouldn't be terribly surprised because with Call of Duty going to Xbox and everything, it is a good point in time for Battlefield to like try to capture more of the player base. So it wouldn't be surprising if it became a bit more Call of Duty esque. And I don't just mean like the time to kill, which I agree has always been somewhat fast, but more of like Twitch shooters, playlists, map designs, things like that. If they add in, God, if they add in like a zombies mode, you'll know it's going for that.
I don't think it will. They've never had one, so I can't imagine they would. But it's funny. Like I was watching Battle Nonsense, this YouTuber. He's a tech analysis YouTuber for Netcode, kind of like the Digital Foundry, but for multiplayer servers, and just great videos. And he was around. He's been around for a long time, and I'd always watch his stuff to see like, oh, how's the netcode for this game? All these other shooters, yada yada, and he'd analyze them like crazy. But he came out and he posted a video. He's been kind of retired for a while because he had a kid, and so he hasn't been doing any content. But he posted a video saying like, his thoughts on Conquest and his issues with it right now because he's played Battlefield since like he's an OG. So he was talking about Battlefield 2, and in Battlefield 2, how they'd have like, oh, if you take this objective, you get this thing to spawn. And they kind of have that in Battlefield 6 right now, where it's like, oh, if you take this spot, like a Jeep spawns here, so you can have that Jeep as your team. But in Battlefield 2, it'd be like, oh, if one side has this objective, that's where their tank comes from. And then if you take the enemy's objective where they get their tank, it just prevents that tank from spawning. You don't get an extra one. You just prevent it. So like there was strategy to like taking out certain ones. I'm like, yeah, if they could do something like that, bring a little more tactics, I suppose, into a little more strategy into Conquest. Because the problem with Conquest is sometimes they can just turn into running around for like that. That's why I hate Domination, because Domination is just Conquest, but for infantry. So it's like it's a smaller class. It's like 3 objectives, but it just turns into people, all the teams running in a circle, capturing the objectives and just running around, and there's nothing to it. There's no strategy. But holding an objective to be like, oh, if you hold this objective, like let's say it's like a supply depot. It's like, oh, now everybody on your team, let's say if they spawn on that objective, they get extra ammo or something. When they spawn on there. So it's like that's the incentive to take that. Or if there's like an armory, it's like, oh, they don't have armor. They had armor plates in Battlefield 2042, but it's like if they had armor plates, they could be like, if you take the armory, if you spawn there, you get like 1 armor plate or something, like a vest that prevents some damage or something like that. Like do something that would kind of incentivize taking specific objectives and not just being like, take this, take that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, 'cause there are some I've played some Conquest games where it's like it doesn't feel like it's just rotation. It's like we are holding the objectives and then defending them versus just people running and trying to take all of them. And then the other problem I have too is like if I play a match, I don't like a game where it's one-sided no matter which side I'm on. Like I hate being on a game where like our team is dominating, we have every objective. I'm like, this just isn't fun.
Well,
And
yeah, because it's either not fun or, well, it's not fun either way because it's either way too hard or way too easy, and neither one gives any sense of reward or accomplishment.
yeah,
Both of
and
them just kind of suck.
it's like, and then they spawn in, and they do have they have mechanics in other Battlefield games where it's like, if you had no maps, no flags in Conquest, when you went to go take a flag, you would take it super fast. So it'd be like that. It like this little, boost to the losing team. Be like, oh, you can take objectives faster because you don't have any. And as you get more, you get back up to that normal capture speed. But yeah, it's like, okay, well, I don't know what they could do to really come back from this. Like they're kind of, you're screwed. You can't really, you know, do anything. It'd be interesting if they had a mechanic where you can like drop in via parachute. I kind of wish they'd bring back the commander mode from Battlefield 4, which I always thought was really fun. That's like the commander can call in like cruise missiles or vehicles and stuff like that. I think some other things. And the commander didn't even have to have the game. The commander could play on iPad. There's an app, and they would just watch the map from the tactical view and on whatever team they were the commander for, and then they could just call in shit from there. That would have impact the game. And I did that a couple times. And that was always really cool. Like a little sub feature. And you can take the cruise missiles out from the sky too as they come down. Like you could shoot them out of the sky. But I always thought that was a fun bit. I wish they never brought back. It wouldn't make sense in Battlefield 1 or 2 or 5, but I'm surprised they don't have that mode come back. But anyways, yeah.
God, why am I blanking on what Battlefield 5 was?
Battlefield 5 was World War II. They had did the same
Oh,
thing.
that was where but they just called it Battlefield, right?
They called it Battlefield 5. It
God,
was like,
I need to look this up. I'm like blanking on what game this actually is.
yeah, Battlefield 5 was after 1, obviously. But they went back to World War II. They kind of did the thing where they had fortifications to where you could like fortify little bunkers with, well, not bunkers. They're more like just little divots in the ground. You can fortify them with sandbags. Um, and they had some fun maps. They had the same like vignette little stories, just like in Battlefield 1, which I thought were fun. You learn about like the resistance in I think it was like the Swedish resistance, like some stuff a story about what they did as well to with heavy was it heavy water? I forget what. Doing stuff trying to stop them from getting the bomb or whatever. Or you didn't know it at the time. I think they just knew that hey, they're doing this like resistance groups in these other places. It was fun. It had some fun maps. I enjoyed playing it. There were some really good maps in 5, but I just didn't play it for a crazy long amount of time. Eventually, they had like more DLCs. I think they went to the Pacific. I definitely stopped playing before that came out. But yeah, there was I think one was just really one was probably my favorite. I really liked one. But
By one, do you mean the reboot one, or do you mean original one?
the one that's actually called Battlefield 1.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one's just called Battlefield. Battlefield 1 was like the World War One Battlefield. That was like just like a great time for multiplayer. I think 'cause like it Battlefield 4, I didn't have everybody who played 3 play it because they didn't jump right over. And 'cause I loved 3. But that was 2011.
Yeah, three was I think my favorite, but I also think that it just hit at a very particular time that worked really well. But 3 was phenomenal.
Yeah. I loved 1 just because I like the World War One aesthetic 'cause you didn't see anything really around World War One. And then I just had a lot of people that I was playing with who were playing Battlefield 1, and it was just fun using those old weapons and again, just some really fun maps and stuff. I just had a really good time with Battlefield 1. But anyways, that's what I'm playing. I don't know what I'm gonna play now that I beat Death Stranding 2. I gotta figure that out. I don't got too much. Do I have anything? I'm just
You can
gonna
catch up on
watch.
Twisted Metal, or you will finally play a game together. Who knows? Who can really say?
I don't think any of those things are gonna happen. I have been playing Icarus because I actually went and started the mission, but it's this one mission I had tried to do previously where it was like you had to collect a bunch of shit, but now I'm almost done with it. I got to get to a mission where I can it has a more non-collector objective because that could be really annoying. Those are definitely designed for more people than just one. Playing all that, I got to figure out something else to play. Don't think I have anything installed that I haven't played yet. Maybe I'll play Lies of P DLC. I do want to play a DLC, but I kind of want to be in the mood to play a Souls like. But I don't know. I'll figure it out.
I know.
Finish up
I
the
need to play
altars
the
probably.
Liza P. Oh, you haven't beat the altars yet? I need to play Liza P DLC as well. I keep sort of putting it off. It's hard to get
Yeah.
back into Souls games for me. Like I love Souls games, but once I put them down to do something else, I always really struggle with ever actually going back to them.
Yeah. I mean, it took me a bit to play Shadow of the Erdtree as well. I'll get into Lies of P's DLC eventually. I'll probably just what I'll do is I'll run like a new game, play it for a bit just to get back in the mechanics and be like, okay, now load up my one new game plus whatever and just go straight into the DLC and be like, okay, I refreshed my memory. I played beat a couple bosses or something and be like, I'm good. But all right, well, we can go ahead and wrap it up there. Again, we have the Open Night Live Tuesday. Hopefully we'll get some good stuff out of that. And then hopefully Zai will be feeling well. Maybe we can do like a more spoilery discussion for Death Stranding 2 because Zaya did watch Michael play through the whole game, so I know there's probably a lot that she'll want to talk about that are like crazy moments and whatnot. And there's a lot of story things that I do want to talk about, but I don't want to spoil anything for Isley.
Do I need to jot down my thoughts and feelings on the game without having played it? I don't know if I really care about the story in that game. I don't know how much I believe that the stories in those games are actually good.
You should jot them down over the course of this week. That way, when Zaya and I have the discussion about what happens, we can talk about what because we'll probably just if you mute or whatever or who knows what or deafen, we'll talk about it and then yada yada, or you just bounce before we do, and then we'll see like how much we'll talk about
How
how much you got
correct
right.
or incorrect I actually
Uh-huh.
am.
Yeah, that'd be funny. We could tell like, oh, you got 60%, but we won't tell you what parts. That'd be funny. But anyways, we'll go ahead and wrap it there. Thank you all to and listen. Thank you, Izzy, for joining.
Yep.
And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.